This little video is for researchers and all people who like Sasquatch. Yeah, there's a difference between academic research and field research. Field research is hopefully you're going out to investigators, and you're taking notes. You know, what time of a day did I see a Sasquatch? How did I hear a Sasquatch? And how far from my house was I? And all this. These are data points. And then, you know, like another data point, but the academic would be completely different. It'd be like how many people have seen Sasquatch. You know, how many of those people who've seen Sasquatch saw them from their house, or within 5 miles of their house, or within 20 miles of their house, and so on. You see, these are data points. And how many people who've seen Sasquatch also see stick lifts in their house, and so on and so on. These are data points. You collect the data over a wide bunch of people, and you ask a lot of questions. And data, academic data, takes in everything, and then you just look at the data, see what the data has to say. It's not about trying to affirm a belief or something. But academic research is based on questions. And you ask the people who are experiencing, say, for example, the ET people who have had contact, you ask them questions. And there's a great study that was done by the Dr. Edgar Mitchell Foundation for research into extraterrestrial encounters. Okay, and they had like a 600 questionnaire, and they found out a lot about what the contact experience was. Like 1/3 of the people who were contacted or taken by the star people were on craft, and they could look around. They could see who was there. So they could ask questions like, when you're on the craft, what kind of people did you see? What kind of beings did you see? And then they break that down in percentages. And then a lot of those people saw light beings. Number one was light beings. People either as balls of light or just emanating light, and they didn't really have they had like maybe a bipedal shape. That was number one. And number two was humans, human shape in different sizes and different colors, but they were human, basically looked like modern humans. And then it went down to the grays, and there's different varieties of the gray people. And of this 1/3 of the people who answered this question, they were the people who were a lot awake and aware, and they saw the different kinds of beings on the craft, because there's different. One craft may have different beings on them, or through their life they saw. You know, they saw a light being, and they saw a human being, and they saw these different kind of beings. So they saw these different beings on the craft. So when it gets on down to the the reptoid kind of people, and then the mantis kind of people, and then like a fifth or sixth, believe it or not, was Sasquatch. There was I think it was 17% of the people who had been on these different crafts for different times in their life. 17% saw the small Sasquatch, the small hairy humanoid, which like under 5 feet, and then 14% saw the large hairy humanoid, which is 6 feet and up. So that's actually academic data of Sasquatch being on a spacecraft. So there's a big difference between being a field researcher, because if you look at the UFO investigators, they've been UFO investigators and UFO researchers since the 1940s. And they did the field research, right? And the field research was completely different than the academic research, because in the field research everybody was saying the evil aliens, and they're going to eat us, and and they're gonna invade us, and it went on and on. You know, they're gonna take your children, and they're sexually abusing and hybridization. They have all this kind of stuff. But when you look at the academic data, they ask, how has your life changed with contact with the star nations? And 80% of them said that their life was better, that they would like to keep that relationship alive because they had a better relationship with themselves, they had more connection and love for Mother Earth, they were more concerned about the environment, they had more love in their life, they had more psychic abilities and more intuition. All these were basically like a spiritual and emotional upgrade for all the people. That's like 80%. 10% or 10 to 12% were saying, well, there's no change. My life didn't really change very much. And then another 10% said that their life was worse and they were traumatized. And I'm suspecting it's the same thing. The same thing is going to end up washing out with the Sasquatch people. So I'm going to give you an example of data that doesn't match what the field researchers are saying. And this is data from experiencers in a group, an experiencer group. And the question is this: have the Sasquatch given you the feeling of oneness? Have the Sasquatch given you the feeling of oneness? And if so, how would you describe it? Okay, TGM said, first comment said, while at the second Sasquatch retreat, they shared a love blast with me 2 or 3 times. All I can say is it was so powerful and impactful that it made me cry like the baby at the drop of a hat with sheer joy. It was amazing. And BB replied to that, I wish everyone could experience that, bro. I don't think anyone could and not be changed. Then BB writes, when I got my first Love Zap download, I knew we were all one and connected and felt it. There was no judgment or lower vibration nonsense cluttering me up. I knew it was where I wanted to go and where we as a human race needed to go to. That's what I try to share with others moving forward. To me, that's the crux of the Forest People message. DR says, it is a peace within you that it just radiates to your core. BB says, true. I could have added that as well. Thanks, D. Okay, then DM says, happiness, energy, peace. Then ACC says, I'm not sure words can fully express it. All fear does not exist, and the peace cannot be defined in man's words. Many times in my life, when my heart was broken, they took the brokenness away. And DR says, ditto. That was an agreement. Okay, AM said, the love hit me so hard it felt like my body was going to rip apart from the inside. I felt so connected to everything that for a minute I felt like I was seeing through the eyes of a bird that was flying overhead. It was crazy. We are definitely all one. And then he adds, he replies to his own comment on Facebook. AM says, I also have a past life memory of hunting with a wolf, only I was seeing through the eyes of the wolf. I could follow him with my bow, and we would walk as a team. My brother in that life was very jealous of my hunting skills. Okay, and then SC says, like a cloak of warmth that permeated through my physical body into my soul. I also felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted off me. Then RS says, what do you mean oneness? Question mark. GL said, I have felt one with them when I lost everyone else. Then Emmett says, BB, this is a fantastic post. It needs to be made into a voiceover. Thank you all for inspiring the true accounts of Sasquatch experience of oneness and bliss. SF said, they personally let me know they are with me by what they not only have let me see, smell, and hear, but stronger and deeper knowing of what they shared in the way of feeling them through the warm wishes of love and confirmations of what I'm thinking sometimes. All of that combined leaves me without a doubt that all life is connected and one energetically. Many thought lessons with me have occurred with their assistance on this. Connection to the universe and connection to all life within, and how we all influence it. ACC replies yes with a big heart. Then TJ says bliss. KL says, in replies and makes her comment, I feel oneness with them, but not because anyone gave it to me. It's something we are all part of. Then AB says, I should say after my awakening, I have realized everything is one, everything is connected. My awakening happened around the same time I received my first mind speak. A beautiful female voice audibly inside my head, I love you. When I used to hike alone, I felt at one with the universe. I just know we're all fragments of one source. And ACC, replying to AB, says, yes, there is no separation. Another person replied, TM, my very first sighting I know was meant to take my mind off my grandma's death. I had been crying and sitting in the woods, and when I seen, it looked into my eyes, and like it was looking into my soul. And I believed I still had I had thoughts of my grandma, but the pain was diverted to what I saw and put me on my journey. JS says, when I got my first whoop and Sasquatch sighting at Dogman territory, I felt the whole area was full of love. I felt so much love and happiness. I've experienced oneness too, but it was not related to Sasquatch. It was over a decade earlier. And then AG says, I feel the trees, the grass, I hear the heartbeat of the Mother Earth and all life. All life flows through and as us eternally. I am at one. Namaste. And RB says, yes, one time when I went on a hike and camp out alone to test my courage, I was laying in my tent around 1 or 2 a.m. I was feeling a bit of fear being out in the remote areas of the woods alone, and I started to hear 2 Sasquatch talking back and forth far down the gully. They sound like they were talking some kind of Neanderthal language, if that makes sense. Initially it spooked me, but after listening for a few minutes, I felt a calm energy flow up from my feet into my entire body, tingling all over my body that soon morphed into complete bliss and love. My third eye was exploding also. This lasted a good time, and it clearly came from my Sasquatch friends yapping in the woods. This really changed how I felt going forward, and I later was visited by 3 owls directly over my tent in the tree. It was one of the most profound experiences I've had in the woods by far. Call it the Love Zap or loving energy wave. It was amazing for sure. Now, this isn't an academic thing, but it is a question. it was the question was the question was, have the Sasquatch seen you? Have the Sasquatch given you the feeling of oneness? And if so, how would you describe it? That's an academic question, you know. And I think you'll find, just like the research on the ET contacts found out, is that the vast majority of people who are having contact with Sasquatch on a personal level, on a heart-to-heart level, or you might call it psychic level, or an intuitive level, their lives are improving. They do not want that to end. So there is data out there of people who are traumatized, but nobody knows how many people are traumatized and how many people are having the experience of the heart opening, of oneness, of unity, or of bliss, or of a love zap. They don't have that data, but I'm saying the data is there and needs to be looked at to get an overall picture of what's going on. Because the idea, just like with the ETs, the idea that the ETs are all evil and going to eat your children, and that they're all into hybridizing and taking over the earth, that turned out to be completely 180 degrees false. And it turns out that they're upgrading humanity, opening our consciousness, giving us information, giving us solutions, giving us equations, and giving us, upgrades all the way across the board. So, and that the people who experience ETs want to keep experiencing them. They want that connection to be unbroken. And I think you're going to find the same thing with the Sasquatch people. The ones who are experiencing Sasquatch on that level want to keep that relationship going. It becomes one of the most important relationships of their life, and it becomes nurturing, loving, and familiar, as in family. So that's the end of this little unofficial academic, like one question data, but it is data. There is data on that. So I'll just leave it at that. There is a difference between field research and not collecting any data, and not compiling any data, and academic research. There's a completely different thing. You have to ask the questions, and you have to reach the whole, whole big slice of the pie to get the academic understanding of what's going on. All right, thanks for watching the video, and hopefully we'll have more later as things unfold.